What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Farrow from Monty and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monty and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Later.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Wishing everybody, hopefully they had a wonderful 4th of July. How was your 4th of July, Jimmy?
Ow. Burned like a fucking lobster. Ow. Never send a pale ghost Irish guy into the sun. Ow. What's that?
That's a picture of you at the beach with work boots.
Yeah, because I don't have sneakers currently. But I have a Kohl's gift certificate card that I'm going to go get a pair.
So
Leave me
Jimmy,
alone.
you were at a beach guy.
Yeah, I'm not.
And
I
now
wore
Jimmy's been
boots.
going
I'm
to
not
the
a beach guy.
Jimmy
Yeah.
enjoys the beach, but
Yeah, I do.
Unfortunately,
It has the sun,
for Jimmy,
The sun.
the
The
umbrellas that we had
did not
were
work.
fine. No, they were fine
Didn't work for
until
me.
a 4th party showed up and we
Right.
kind of moved that person under. It kind of crammed it under the umbrella. Jimmy
Yeah.
kind of fell into the sunlight a little bit.
Yeah,
And
the
he got a
outrage.
little roasted and he got a little
the
toasted.
Pharaoh should have 2 umbrellas to himself. I get bumped for Bertha.
So you're really going to give up on the beach? You're done with the beach now?
I do not want to get burned the rest of my life. I am never going back to the beach to lie and get cooked like a shish kebab ever again. Again. Never.
Wow.
Yeah, that hurt. Not cool. I have no AC at home. So I'm lying there with an extra layer of cooked Pharaoh. You know how hot it got in there last night?
I told you, aloe vera, man.
Aloe vera.
I told you.
Isn't that our right guard on the Jets, aloe vera? Or is Vera Tucker. Never mind. Go ahead.
Just you had to put the lotion on the skin.
I should have put the lotion in the basket and brought it to the beach.
That's right. Or use some sunblock.
What's that?
Yeah, there you go. I don't want to get burnt, but
Hey, come on! We put the lotion on the Pharaoh. It just didn't work. Why didn't it work? You know that the sun index was a 9 that day. I don't know if you knew that. I found out after.
I don't pay attention.
I
to the
took a
sun
look.
index.
I was like, "Why am I so burned?" And I looked. 9 on the index. That's asking for trouble if you're Irish. And
Rest in peace, James Caan. The actor James Caan has passed away at age 82. Known for such great movies as The Godfather, Elf, Misery.
that's the favorite.
Brian's Song.
Wow, that movie made me weep like a.
So many of them, right?
That movie made me weep like a baby. Yeah, I mean, obviously his role.
Did you ever see
as
Misery?
Misery's my favorite movie from him.
Really?
Kathy Bates. She was really pissed what he did with that character. That is a great, great, great movie. And Spidey needs to see it. Spidey says he's never seen Misery. That needs to be done. That's Stephen King greatness. Great movie. James Caan was fantastic and an icon. What did you say he died of? Natural causes, you believe?
I
You're
guess.
not sure.
I didn't see anything.
What
in
is dying of
particular.
natural causes, by the way?
Sooner or later you're going to die.
What is that?
Sooner or
But what
later
is
you're
it?
going to
Define
die.
the natural causes.
Define the natural
I
cause.
got up to take a leak. Oh! I just realized I'm 82. Doof. Is that the natural causes? I don't know what natural causes means. They're gonna have
Natural. Oh, JB, he's right. Remember that football movie I was telling you
Yeah,
about?
what was the name?
Called The Program.
The Program.
Yes, it's a very good football. Thank you, JB.
Interesting.
I was telling Farrell about that,
Okay.
and I couldn't remember the name of it. You know,
okay.
again, we can't remember anything. All we have to do is Google it, and we
That's
should.
true.
We keep going through this.
How dare we forget anything when it's right there
It's
at our
right there.
fingertips?
All you have to do is
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? I don't know.
And we sit there and go back and forth for 40 minutes and go,
But
hold
it's
on.
funny when we go back and forth. It shows how ding-dongy we are.
First Lady of Wrestling,
What?
Miss Maria Davis in the house.
Oh,
Maria, how are you?
Maria!
Jason in the house.
What is up, Jason?
JB02, Blues
Absolutely.
in the house.
What
Matthew
happened?
Holland. RJ Hudson in the house. Mitch Seinfeld in the house.
Mitch.
Eric Sims is in the house making
Hey,
an appearance.
What's happening?
Who else we got in the house here? And we got Jason, who was in early, guys. Welcome. Got a very exciting show today.
That's for sure.
Going to hear something that I don't think anyone's ever told this story before. And
I don't think
let's give a little
so.
shout out to our buddy Eric Sims, who actually
go.
gave us the hookup on this.
Man.
Our guest will probably explain his first appearance with Eric Sims. And
Yeah.
talk about how many psychiatrists he has to see
After meeting Eric Sims?
Eric,
Well, I've already seen 4. It's costing me a fortune. Eric, expect a bill. Okay. Which he won't pay.
Georgia man struck by lightning loading his van. How often are people struck by lightning?
This is a story.
I want to ask.
How often are people struck by lightning?
And do you know that all the people
not very often.
you don't think, but if you look it up,
But there is a ton of
it
people,
happens
so
quite
I guess,
often.
there's a ton of people in this world, so maybe the number is high.
I think the average is like 140 people a year.
140.
Yeah,
Out of what's the world's population?
Kabillion or whatever phrase.
Well, I would have to say that it's very rare that people get hit by lightning. Then, if you got
Dude,
100.
what kind of fucking shit luck
know?
do you have to get hit by lightning?
Probably, I shouldn't even answer this question because knowing me, by the time I get out to the parking lot, I'll be further shish kebabbed. I don't
There'll
think
be
it's
no rain clouds and
imagine?
still
Pharaoh. Boom! I can see that.
Do you know that 90% of the people who were struck by lightning survive?
That to me is amazing. How is that? I figured you'd be zapped and done.
Do you come out of that with superpowers?
Really? I wonder. I mean, isn't that how Frankenstein came to life? Lightning?
So I'm going to give you a
Isn't
choice.
that how your beautifully loved King Kong stopped Godzilla? Oh,
No, he bit
it was electric. It was
electrical
electric.
cords.
It was lightning.
Oh, did he get hit by lightning?
He got hit
too?
by lightning.
No, it didn't hit him. Oh,
He was
that's
lying
right.
under the rocks.
That's
Godzilla was covering him with his
right,
tail.
you're
And then
right.
all of a sudden the clouds and the boom,
lightning
and he was like, oh! It was
So I'll
like,
give you a question.
ow, I got sunburned.
You're gonna hit- you're gonna-
It fucking hurt.
You're going to hit. Man, you guys should see his chest.
No,
Show your
that's-
chest, dude.
No, I'm not
You
showing my
got it.
chest.
You got
Are
it.
you serious?
Yeah, you can-
Take a vote. You guys really want to see something horrible? Then fine. I refuse to believe they want to see the Pharaoh's
Yes,
chest.
show your chest.
Don't do that. It's nudity on TV.
Come on, show your chest.
I'm not showing my nipples. I ain't doing it.
Just
They're
show your
sexy,
stomach
though.
at least.
They are sexy, but I ain't doing it. Show
So I'll
my-
give you a choice. If you hit by lightning and either
Yeah.
you're going to die or you turn into Eric Sims, which one are you choosing?
What time's my funeral? I hope I make it.
You imagine like you hit by lightning, all of a sudden you get bald and then you have a fanny pack.
What time is my cremation? I don't even want to be put in the ground. What are you talking about? This is awful.
If you didn't know, to the right,
Awful.
to
Sorry,
my
Eric.
right is the star
He's
of the
doing it,
show,
not
Mr.
me.
Jimmy Farrow.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'd like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh, own Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall.
What, man?
Wisteria
I'm back, baby!
Wisteria Hall sings. See a little sunburn? Now you got it.
Yeah, that's
Wisteria
what it
Hall
is.
sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page. Please hit the like and subscribe. So,
Yeah.
since we've been doing that
please.
shtick, has the subscriber
We've
count
been doing
grown on
what
YouTube?
shtick? What, the Buttman shtick?
Well, this whole thing that we
Yeah,
do
we are
every week.
we're flying off the charts.
Well, that's good to
We're
hear.
flying off the charts.
I don't know if you're being facetious or not, but
Just
I'll go
keep
with it.
plugging away.
Let's
We're
keep
doing
plugging
it.
away.
We're doing it.
You can download their music on Spotify, Apple Music, or Reverb Nation, or wherever music can be downloaded.
Yeah.
If you didn't know it, you are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. You can catch us on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page, which we have gone over 2 million views. So thank you all
Wow.
for the support.
Wow.
God knows, you know what? 2 million? That's a big number, and
Man.
we are very, very proud of it. And all the
Ooh-wee.
people have
Thank
supported us.
you.
Everybody that's in his chat room and beyond. Thank you,
That's a
thank
lot.
you, thank you. Catch us on the Monty and the Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Catch us on the Twitch TV Monty and the Pharaoh channel. And also, if you're lucky enough to live in New York, catch us on channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 and Saturday at 11:30, where we're head-to-head with Saturday Night Live. And channel 20 Tuesdays at 1 a.m., which makes us a grand total of over 120,000 views weekly.
Must be doing something right.
Not bad. As always, we want to thank Amazon Music for allowing us to join their programming. We'll be right back. I'm really excited for this one.
This one is going to be different for sure. With
what we're calling the Cop Who Killed Kayfabe. And again, I use the word cop because it sounds good with kayfabe.
Sounds fantastic.
Right?
Title.
But again, I don't want to ever use the word cop as a disrespectful title.
When did that ever become a disrespectful? I don't think that's disrespectful.
We could ask our guest Lance Oram when we come back if he feels that cop is disrespectful.
Oh man, this world's getting really sensitive. Okay. We'll see you in a sensitive second.
Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast. www.quickcast.com. 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Start your own success. Oh, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
Nothing much.
You know, Jimmy, I love this country.
Oh.
I love to buy Made in America material. And I love to buy my artwork at TAG, T-A-A-G, Made in America, 14 East Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11717. The shop at the corner. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler and broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, where we're welcoming our special guest, Mr. Lance Oram. Lance, how are you, sir?
All right, guys, how we doing?
All right. So clear this up. Mitch Seinfeld's saying out there, a trooper is not a cop. Is cop a disrespectful word in your mind?
Nah, not at all. Cop is kind of more of a generic term, I think, but basically, you know, when you're a state trooper, we prefer to use the word trooper. It invokes a kind of a different image, and, you know, our jurisdiction is obviously statewide. You know, we're not confined to a municipality or a county or normal things that you would associate with a police officer.
Yeah, but we couldn't title the name of the show "The Trooper Who Killed Kayfabe." That doesn't have a good enough ring to it.
Yeah, yeah. Cop seems to flow better, so we're fine with cop.
Lance, I'm sorry. Can you do me a favor, Lance? Can you spell something out for me? Because I've always been confused by this. When I see a trooper, now out here in New York, the troopers obviously do the parkways, but they don't do the expressway. So when I see a trooper like pull somebody over off the parkway on like a Jericho Turnpike or a Larkfield, like, you know, a road that's not within their quote unquote jurisdiction, is it within their jurisdiction? Do you know to be there, or can they go anywhere?
I mean, absolutely.
Wow.
State police have jurisdiction statewide.
Nice. Okay.
You know, I can't specifically state for New York or any other state, but I can tell you in New Jersey, it's the entire state, you know, 5 miles out to sea, up in the air with the helicopters. Wherever something's going on, you know, we have a right to look into it.
Okay.
Do you have a right to look into people who still wear fanny packs, though? That's a big deal, and it really should be against the law at this point.
Yeah, how do you pat down those fanny packs?
Well, you know, the scary thing is, you know, I've been retired like 11 and a half years, and they were almost still in fashion back before I left. So, yeah, I think if I stopped somebody today and they had a fanny pack on, they'd already have a strike against it.
Let me ask you, not to make this about Eric Sims, but Eric obviously hooked us up with you, which we thank him for.
Yeah.
But when he came and visited you with his family, were you embarrassed that this guy comes visit you with a fanny pack on?
be honest with you, the trained observer that I am, I don't remember him having a fanny pack, but
Okay.
no, he was. When they first told me, they came in the back to get me because it's a big nightclub restaurant, and they said there's a guy out front looking for you, and I didn't. I said who? I figured it was some friend, some hanger-on that wanted to use my name to get in for free or something. They said Eric Simpson. I paused for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy, and I hadn't met him yet. So no, he was very nice, and it was a pleasure meeting him.
I hadn't met him yet. So what's a hanger-on trying to get in for free?
They're like, some dude with a fanny pack is here.
Yeah. What?
And they're like, what?
Strike one. Anyway.
They would have probably whoever came back and told me. I think it was one of the bouncers. They would have delivered it up a little differently if the guy was wearing a fanny pack. It was like, hey, one of your close associates is here with a fanny pack, so I would have been prepared.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So Lance, for people who do not know who you are, can you please explain to the audience out there, who is Lance Oram?
Lance Oram's an old guy right now, and back in the day, I did 25 years in the state police. I graduated the academy in January of '86. I retired in February of 2011. And, it was a great run. Had a lot of great experiences, met a lot of awesome people, had a lot of weird shit happen. And today, I don't think I'd want to do the job today, but I would never discourage any, young person that comes up to me and asks me, what do I think? Should they think they want to be a cop, a trooper, whatever? I said, yeah, no, go for it, because the world's constantly changing. It's always peaks and valleys. So, God, if they choose that path.
How hard has it been watching how cops have been
it's
portrayed?
disgusting. Everything with this country is just disgusting anymore. I'm just so fed up, and I'm sure I speak for 95% of all cops and troopers, and we don't get it. I mean, I was in the military before the state police. I was in the military for 4 years. I just don't understand anything about today. The dumb youths I deal with at the nightclub I work at, I just want to slap their parents. I don't get anything.
Yep, I can see that. You had some experience with Hector Macho Camacho, I believe?
Yeah. Well, that was probably not within the same year or within a year after the incident with the Sheik and Hacksaw. We're at, I don't know if you're familiar with the Garden State Parkway around exit milepost 82. There's like a little substation there, little building in the middle of the north and south. It's called Pleasant Plains. And I was in there with like 3 or 4 other troopers. We were just figuring out where, our next assignment was going to be for the day. And all of a sudden, like a Lamborghini pulled in. And I'm like, look at this car, what does this guy want? And, the doors open from the side there, like the wingtip doors. I think it was a Lamborghini, maybe it was a Lotus, whatever it was, out of my pay grade. And this little dude gets out, and he's covered in gold, and one of the troopers go, ooh, who's this shitbag, And all of a sudden he jumps out, and he's got the big macho and gold, medallion on. And I look, I go, holy shit, Macho, Camacho. And he goes, hey, troopers, what's up? He goes, which way is New York? Just fucking around. And so he came over, chatted us with us for a while, took some photos, and he was really a nice guy.
Did you have any interesting situations, or was that just a one-time meeting with him?
Oh, that was the only time I ever met him.
That was the only time you met him?
Okay. I think he wanted to meet us. He saw us standing there. I think he just wanted to pull in, and, he certainly loved the celebrity, and, he was probably in his peak back then. So it's a shame he passed too, but he went down bad road, I guess. But
yeah,
he was pretty funny that day. He just caught us off guard,
How dangerous, and I know that's almost ridiculous to even ask, but can you maybe tell us a couple of the most dangerous kind of situations you were involved in, on the job? Maybe
over 25 years. I mean, I was pretty fortunate. Listen, I had a great career. I probably only did 8 years in uniform, so to speak, on the road and, doing various patrolling or different duties. The rest of the time I was suit and tie off the road. But every trooper's had a plethora of, not only scary situations, but hysterical situations, serving warrants, Going to domestics is always like the worst thing. You go into somebody's house and, the guy just beat the shit out of his wife or his girlfriend, and then you try to make sense of the situation, and next thing you know, she's attacking you because you're putting handcuffs on him. I'd only been shot at once early on in my career, and I wasn't directly shot at. The guy was just firing a shotgun. There was a bunch of us surrounding the house, and he was firing. I don't know where the pellets went, but I heard shots going off, and I heard like scattering in the woods. So, there's wrestling matches on the side of the road with drunks. Guys trying to jump off the bridge and wrestling them back over the guardrails. You name it, really. I would have to really think about. I know you're going to hit me with these questions.
Oh,
So we were speaking earlier. We were talking about what you're doing now, and you're working as security for the larger establishments on the Jersey Shore. Can you share any stories about the Jersey Shore crew that has gone to your bar?
Yeah, well, now when people ask me what I do now, I toss drunks. So, anyone familiar with New Jersey, the Jersey Shore has probably been to Jenkinson's nightclub. It's a huge establishment. It's right on the ocean. It's a restaurant, bar, plus the whole boardwalk. So we have great bands, and now we've gotten so big. It's Friday, Saturday nights, 4,000 or 5,000 people. Another 800 in line waiting to get in. It's just every night it's just drunken kids that don't understand the word no, or, something breaks out. By the time, usually the bouncers, we'll have like on a Saturday night, say, we'll have 50 bouncers and 8 cops working. And usually, it erupts inside the club or on the beach. And we're mostly at the perimeter, at the door, checking IDs. So by the time they get to us, they've already pretty much been subdued. And, 90% of the time you can talk them off the ledge, but the other 10% of the time they're so drunk or so banged up as far physically after the fight they were just in, or what the bouncers had to do to get them out the door, that there's just no rationalizing with them. So, that's what I've been doing. I'm getting a little long on the tooth to do this anymore too. So I don't know what I got left in the tank, but
well, it's got to be hard controlling 5,000 people every night. It seems like insanity.
Yeah. Well, it's Friday and Saturday nights are the crazy nights. And again, because our we're right on the beach, and after COVID, they fenced in a large area behind the bar on the beach. So that greatly expanded our, capacity. And it also is, it's a great set. If you're from New York, North Jersey, out of state, we got palm trees and all the foliage, and there's bars on the, it's really a very nice place to go. Unfortunately, I don't know where these people are coming from. I swear, if this was 20 years from now, I'd understand. I said, well, these are all COVID babies, People were locked down for 2 years. They were obviously engaged in making babies, but I just don't know where they're coming from. I get IDs every night from at least 30 different states.
Wow.
They're all over the place.
Wow.
A lot of fake IDs. It's an industry.
Lance,
and,
how many guys are on your staff to control 5,000 people? What do you got, 20 of you?
Well, we have, and I'm not in charge, but we have I think about it. The main bar is called the Pavilion, and we control the main bar, and then the north end at the inlet there's another bar which is much smaller, but so we staff that, and then there's a south end with a whole other contingency where the rides and the beach and everything. But on our personal staff, we have I think 22 cops on payroll.
That was close.
Wow.
I figured 20. Interesting. Well, I've had some security.
And most of us are retired. I'd say 80% of us are retired. A couple of guys are still on the job and doing it though.
Wow.
So
wow.
Yeah, and it's hard getting guys. Most guys, you get to my point in life, you don't want to deal with this shit anymore. It's like I'm telling kids now, twice my size and half my age, don't do that. And if I wasn't wearing a gun, they'd probably tell me to go fuck myself. But,
Right. Right.
Are all these kids now all jacked up and huge, or is it?
A lot of them, yeah. Clearly, fitness is more prevalent today than it was when I was in my 20s and drinking. So yeah, and they just got that testosterone loaded attitude where nobody's going to tell them nothing, and they I don't even know where they're getting their money. This recession I know we're in is they're all putting it on their debit cards. They're back end loading it, and I'm just like, these guys are in for a rude awakening. They'll be living in mommy's basement till they're 35, you know?
Watching wrestling.
Exactly. But it's got to be totally stressful, right? Because I could imagine you have to deal with fights. How much public sex is going on with all these people? How often does that happen?
Oh, Jesus. We've had, people doing it right at the bar, in the bathroom.
All right.
Every night. I mean, I feel sorry for Jenkinson's, it's a huge industry. I mean, they own the entire boardwalk. They own a good portion of Seaside Heights. So you're talking total of 5-6 bars, a dozen restaurants, arcades, rides. They hire well over 1,000 people. And a lot of them are foreign students that come here, on a visa. And I just, they're from, Jamaica and Thailand, Taiwan, and we used to get a lot of Russian and Slovakians, and to see their faces as they observe American behavior is quite interesting. And they have Mexicans working in the bathrooms, and these people work their asses off for pennies. And every night, we're in there 3-4 times because some knuckleheads, shitting on the floor or trying to get his girl in the men's room because the line for the women's room is too, So every night it's just another adventure.
Unbelievable. All right, Lance, let's do it. On May 28th, 1987, the wrestling world was turned upside down. So tell us, the cop who killed Kayfabe, if you can, what went on that day coming from your eyes, please?
Sure. So anyway, as I stated earlier when we were having a little pre-meeting, that day, this is 35 years ago. I had I think 15, 16 months on the job at the time. So I was a fairly young trooper. And myself and another trooper were heading northbound on the Parkway, going to a detail. And, I saw a troop car making a stop southbound in the median. And you always back up, another police officer when you see him on a stop. So, we slowed down, we rolled over, and I look, and I can remember distinctly. It's hard to remember much about that day, but I remember as the driver, I guess was Hacksaw, exited the vehicle. I saw the vehicle raise up 3 inches. And I'm like, holy shit, look at the size of this guy. And then Sheik got out of the passenger side, I believe. And so myself and the other trooper that was following me, we get out of our cars and we go walking over. And I knew the trooper who stopped them. He said that they were Pete Brancotti, great guy. I called him. I actually reached out. I hadn't talked to him in years. I reached out for him to see if he wanted to participate in this interview. And he was like, he's a very humble, laid-back guy. He said, "No, I'm good." He goes, "But, tell him I said hi," or whatever. So I said over to him, I go, "What you got going on here, Pete?" He goes, "This knuckleheads just went by me drinking a beer." And he goes, "And I smell weed coming out of the car." And I go, "All right." So now they're getting out of the car, and I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at the Sheik. And I kind of recognize him. And I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere, And so he said, "Do me a favor, keep an eye on them. I'm going to, check the car further." So as I'm looking at him, and I look at him, I go, "Iron Sheik?" And he turns around, he goes, "Yes, sir, yes, sir." And he thinks now we're buddies. He starts coming towards me. I go, "I don't want to shake your hand, bro. I just want an ID, So just around that time, the other troop, he finds the Sheik's, Aladdin booties, those curly Q booties, and I guess they're in the back seat. He turns them upside down. He goes, "Hey, Sheik, I guess these belong to you." And turns them upside down, and an 8-ball of Coke falls out. So I'm like, "Oh, Sheik, you're in trouble now." So, and basically, he cuffed them, and, we made sure they were secure, and that was the end of my participation in that story. But right before we put the cuffs on them, I had an old Polaroid in my car, old Polaroid camera with it, shoots out the picture. And, it's BC, before cell phones. And I said, "Hey, Sheik." And he didn't realize he's under arrest yet. And that's when I took that picture. And then the next thing you know, "Okay, you're under arrest." And he was like, "What?" And
Wow.
so unfortunately, and in retrospect, and as I said earlier, all these years later, looking at it, through today's lens, and in a much more mature perspective, I feel bad, as far as I can tell, it kind of ruined these guys' lives. And yes, they're absolutely wrong. And, they got to be punished. But unfortunately, and then I found out subsequent after that, when I just talked to the other trooper last week, he said the next day he went to work and all the news stations were out in front. And he was like, holy shit. And he tried to just get in and get out and get on the patrol. And his sergeant made him go out and give an interview. So that's when I think it really broke loose at that point, because the word got out.
Are you amazed all these years later, the impact of this one particular day?
Oh, absolutely. And I alluded to earlier, the funny part for me, 17 years later. So I have a friend. He's a gold medalist. And he won the gold medal in the 2004 Olympics in Greece in the men's 8 rowing. One of the few times America ever won the gold medal in the men's 8 rowing.
Okay.
And he got invited to Monday Night Football in the owner's box. So I think like Leon Hess owned the Jets back then. So it was Monday Night Football, Jets in Miami. And he was racing down the turnpike because this was 2004, so 17 years later. The Olympics were in August. I think this was like October. And he's on his way to have lunch at the White House with the president, who I think was Bush then. And he calls me in my office. He goes, hey, bro. He goes, I'm running late. He goes, I'm flying down the turnpike. I got to be at the White House for lunch. I go, oh, life's real tough, isn't it, buddy? He goes, yeah. He goes, listen, if I get pulled over, can I use your name? I said, yeah, no problem. Just call me. And of course, we have cell phones now. So he goes, yeah, check it out. I was in New York this morning shooting a commercial for the next Olympics, because New York was throwing her hat into the ring, to all the countries and states. They all lobbied to host the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
And he said all the gold medalists were in New York. He goes, I met this hot chick. She's some kind of VIP person with the Jets. She invited me to Monday Night Football. I go, you bastard. I go, life is real tough. And he goes, I got 2 questions. I go, does she have a friend, and can you bring a friend? He's like, let me call you back. So he calls me back in 10 minutes. He's like, dude, you're in. He goes, can you get us parking? I go, oh, yeah, I'll get us parking at Giant Stadium. So off we go to Monday Night Football, and we're in the owner's box. And again, 50-yard line. I mean, I've never been in a box before, much less the owner's box.
Sure.
And it's all, filthy rich people. I was the dumbest, poorest guy there. All the foods, shrimp cocktail, Chateaubriand, a bar, hot waitresses. I go, this is awesome. I'm not even watching the game. I don't give a shit about the game. I don't like the Jets or Miami. And so all of a sudden, like 15 minutes or so into the game, in walks Hulk Hogan and his wife and his daughter. And my friend, elbows me, look, Hulk Hogan. Now, prior to this, he was the biggest celebrity in the box. I mean, of course, it was all millionaires and shit. But all the millionaires wanted to meet my friend because he had to wear the gold medal. That was the deal. You have to wear the gold medal to get in the box. So they're all shaking his hand, oh, gold medalist. And he's introducing me as his chief of security. I'm nobody. I'm just eating all the shrimp cocktail I can and drinking their beer. So, all of a sudden Hulk Hogan walks in, and he's like, now all these all these filthy rich people are tripping over themselves to shake Hulk Hogan's hand. And he's coming down the receiving line, and, he's shaking hands. And he's, I never met him before. I never saw him live. He's just like you see him on TV. I'm sure you guys met him. He's bigger than life. His hands are the size of basketballs. And he talks like he does, in the third person. This Hulkster this and the Hulkster that. And he comes down the row, and he gets to my friend. He's like, hey, Hulk, Jason Reed, gold Olympian. Oh, brother, that's great. And he gets to me, and I'm like, I got cocktail sauce and shit. I'm like, hey, Hulkster, I'm nobody. I'm with him. I go, I'm just a trooper. He goes, oh, don't say that, brother. We love you guys. I go, but I'll tell you a funny story. He goes, what's that? I go, remember when the Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Duke got locked up? He goes, yeah. I go, well, that was me. He goes, oh. So all right. So the fanfare settles down a little bit, and we all go to our separate areas and started watching the game a little bit. Now, unbeknownst to me, because I wasn't watching the beginning of the game, his daughter sang the national anthem. So I guess Fox and ESPN, whoever the channels were, converged on him because his daughter just started a reality TV show or something about Brooke Hogan or something. So they all converged on him to ask him about, his daughter, yada, yada. And he must have sent out get well and best wishes to Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon apparently just had surgery and was in a hospital recovering from surgery, okay? So, all right, fast forward back to present. We're in the box, 15, 20 minutes ago. He comes over, and I'm sitting there, and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, hey, brother, can I talk to you for a minute? And I go, yeah, sure, you can talk to me. He goes, come on over here. And I go, you're not going to beat me up, are you? He goes, no, come here, I want to talk to you. So I go over to the corner with him. He goes, I just want to let you know, the Hulkster never messed with drugs. He goes, I had my bout with alcohol back in the 80s, but I never messed with drugs. I'm sitting there thinking, like, this guy's explaining himself to me. I'm like, I don't give a shit if you light a joint right now. I'm so happy to be here, you know? So Ozzy's talking to me, and, we're just shooting the shit, and his phone rings, and it's Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon apparently was watching Monday Night Football from some hospital, I think in Atlanta or something, and he saw Hulk, wish him get well, best wishes. So he was calling Hulk to thank him for that. And all of a sudden, Hulk goes, "Hey, Vince, I got the trooper here locked up the Sheik," and he hands me the phone. So I'm like, "Hey, Mr. McMahon, how you doing?" He goes, "Trooper, I want you to know we're glad you did that. They gave us all a black eye." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I bet you're glad we did that, But, okay, Mr. McMahon, I'm glad we could help. And so I give him back the phone. And, that was, I asked him if he knew Paige Falkenberg, Diamond Dallas Page. I said, I went to high school with him. He goes, yeah. I think he married a porn star. I go, oh, he did? I don't know. I lost contact with the guy. But then I'm so excited and shit. I'm so jazzed up. I want to, call my ex-girlfriend and tell her, that I'm standing here with Hulk Hogan. And I go, Hulk, would you say hi to somebody for me? Yeah. So I get her on the phone, and she's already pissed at me because, I'm at Monday Night Football in the owner's box with the Olympian, and she's not there. Yeah. And I get her on the phone. I go, Marilyn, I'm in the owner's box. I got somebody here who wants to say hi. And she's like, all right. And so I hand her on the phone. He goes, what's her name? I go, Marilyn. He goes, hey, Marilyn, Hulk Hogan here. You got yourself a good man. And I hear her go, get the fuck out of here. She's not buying any of it. So, that was pretty much how that night went. And, after that, the fanfare settled down. And, he was a very nice guy.
Well, you're talking to two Jet fans from New York. Did the Jets win that night, or who the fuck remembers?
I'm a Steelers guy, I'm not even a Giants fan. But I don't know.
Pick.
I think the Jets did win that night.
Oh, there we go. I like the Steelers, too, but we know that.
So let's go back a little bit. You mentioned earlier that you kind of felt bad after knowing what happened. Duggan, who's come publicly saying that kind of ruined his career, right? Because he was at that point getting a really major push. And so here's my one question was, as a trooper, are you allowed to go in the car and look through the boots of the Sheik? I didn't understand how you were allowed to search the car.
Okay, well, it's a good question. First of all, long after that date, sometime probably in the mid to late 90s, they came out with consent decrees, consent searches, where you had to get permission, to search a vehicle. And if, most of the time, we're not going to search your vehicle for no reason. The trooper smelled the weed. He might have seen it in plain view. I don't even remember. I think Hacksaw had weed on him, but they were probably just got done burning one. And I got these guys off to the side. I'm keeping an eye on them while the other trooper's looking in the car. So I can only assume that he saw the boots, the Aladdin boots, probably saw a plastic bag sticking out of them or something. I can't articulate absolutely what happened, but we were totally within our right. At that point, we had probable cause, There's open containers of alcohol, there's weed. So, yeah, we're going to look in your car.
Did you sense for even 1 second, I'm just curious, that they might not cooperate when they were placed under arrest?
Yeah, I never got that feel. And then,
Good.
Another trooper rolled up. And like I said, the three of us are out there now. So two of us are watching these guys. Again, it was so long ago. I do remember, I don't want to say, fear, but certainly remorse across, their faces, like, oh boy, we're fucked,
Oh, shit.
And and consequently they were, no time did they resist or, be getting nasty or anything like that.
Okay.
Was there any point where Duggan might have said, hey, please don't do this, you're going to fuck up my career, like begging?
I don't recall that. I would imagine that was a conversation that was probably had in the troop car when he was transporting them. I don't recall him really saying much at all. And, except, oh, geez, kind of, remorseful kind of thing. But no, I don't recall them trying to use, again, when I positively ID'd the Sheik, and he's like, oh, yes, sir, with that accent. And I guess he thought that was going to, levy the pool there, but unfortunately that wasn't the case.
He didn't say I was WWF champion like 75 times? Nothing like that?
No.
He's been known to do that. That's why I was just asking, because he's been known to drop that.
No, they did not.
Okay.
They did not, to me, that I recall, 35 years ago, I don't remember them at all trying to get out of it at that point. I think they were hoping, that given who they were, that we'd slap them on the wrist. And you know what? It wasn't my call. I wasn't the trooper that stopped them. I wasn't the arresting trooper. I was simply the assisting trooper. And plus, the other guy was senior to me anyway. So whatever he wanted to do, we're doing.
So let me ask you this: would you have let them go if it was you being the arresting officer?
1987. Today, yeah. I wouldn't have let them go. I would have transported. I can't let them drive away now because today. I mean, weeds is nothing. Slap on the hand. Drinking and drive is still a big deal. But they didn't appear, to me, visibly impaired. I mean, it's not like they were stumbling, stupid, drunk. Of course, then they have no choice. Right. But once you find the cocaine, I don't know. I don't think I could have let it slide on that.
Right.
So B40 out there is kind of stealing my thunder, but I'm going to give him credit for this. So story goes, they get arrested. They're like, you know what? No one's going to know about this. We're going to, pay a fine, and we're on our way. Who leaked the info to the press out of your office?
Again, as I said earlier, all I know is when he transported them back to the station, I'm sure he processed them, under the normal condition, procedurally went through the numbers. They didn't get a DWI, so clearly they weren't drunk. I don't know exactly what they were charged with. I never saw the report. I never followed up with it. But they told me the next day, I don't know who leaked it. Something like that happens, I guess, hey, look who's in the holding cell. Hey, before you know it, telephone, teletype, teletrooper. We have a saying,
But you agree under normal circumstances, if you had caught me and Farrow in a car and that happened, it wouldn't make the press. It's pretty much a misdemeanor, right?
Today or back then?
Back then.
No, I mean, cocaine was not a misdemeanor back then. I mean, it was, and I think there was like an 8-ball. So
right.
Yeah. So and even marijuana back then. I mean, you can be driving under the influence for drugs or alcohol.
Yeah,
so but obviously to prove marijuana, you'd have to take blood. To prove that you're over a certain limit. Or just by your psychophysical exam, if you're stumbling. But again, these guys, I don't recall them, being. I mean, they just got a car at Newark Airport. I think the backstory. The backstory I read about, which I didn't know at the time, was I think Hacksaw rented a car. He offered the Sheik a ride or something, and everybody's all up in arms because they're supposed to be, enemies on the way to some kind of match in Convention Hall. So I think that kind of upset the apple cart.
For sure.
So let me ask you this then. Mitch Seinfeld's asking, so if it's a felony, how quickly were they released? Because they made the next show with no issue.
It's a good question. I mean, they were probably ROR'd, released on their own recognizance. We did a thing called a green sheet. They get a, court appearance set. Apparently it wasn't enough to lodge them right then and there. Maybe somebody, made a phone call. Maybe I don't know. I don't know from the time they were cuffed and transported until, now. I don't know any more that happened except talking to the other trooper last week when he, told me the story about, taking them back and, the press being there the next day. So,
I mean, you understand where I'm coming with that. That's why I didn't mean to say misdemeanor, but I'm thinking this must not be big of a crime because they didn't spend any night in jail.
I'm with
him. They were released quickly.
I'm with him. I think that there might have been a phone call, but all we can do is speculate. That's what I think.
Yeah. I can't say for sure. I wish I knew the answer to that. Pete, if you're watching this, give me a call. Let me know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean,
and I agree with
again,
you.
Today, definitely you would be, released, unless you're resisting arrest or other, mitigating circumstances involved.
To hammer home your point about the marijuana, back in the late 80s, my friend went to court for a roach. You could get in big trouble for pot back in the 80s.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It was all pretty heavy, potentially.
It was a different world,
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
it was.
The amount of pot I smell every night working at the bar, people on the beach, and they're walking right past the local cops who are all posted up there, we don't have police powers anymore. I just have security power.
Right.
We can detain and turn them over to the police, but I can't officially arrest somebody. I mean, I make a citizen's arrest, but nobody's going to do that shit.
Is cocaine still prevalent the way it was back in the cocaine in the club scene?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's more amphetamines and ecstasy and all the other shit that they can swallow quickly and have a good time
and not gain weight, right? So you're talking about your friend Pete, right? I think you said his name Pete.
Yes.
I guess you've talked to him a few times. Does he have any regret?
Actually, I tracked him down because as a result of this, this interview we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen him since I retired, and he actually, I think, retired. He was 6 months senior to me, so I think he retired before me. And I had not seen him. I think we're friends on Facebook, but I'm not even a big Facebook guy. So I tracked him down through a series of other guys that know him more directly. And I texted him. I go, hey, Pete, you got a minute to chat? And, we got on the phone, and this was just like a week ago. And I told him the whole situation about Eric, with my fiance, and asked him if I wanted to do an interview. And I said, Pete, I don't want to steal your thunder here. This was your arrest. I go, would you like to do the interview or do it with me? Or he goes, no, I'm good. He goes, I appreciate you, respectfully asking. And he's a real good guy, and I never really even worked with him directly, but we interfaced a few times. And he, that's where he told me, I said, Pete, whatever did happen, you transported him back. And I think Hacksaw Dugan's father was a sheriff or something. I think his father was in law enforcement. And I think he might have brought that up. And the fact that, he took him back, he processed them. And then the next day he went to work, and that's when all hell broke loose with the TV stations and stuff.
Now, do you keep those boots as evidence? Were those boots held as evidence?
That's a good question. They probably did temporarily keep them as evidence because, that's continuity of evidence, we call it. That's, where they were stored or where it came from. It was a rental car, so I don't know if they impounded the car or had the rental. I don't really have any other facts for you guys. I wish I did.
I was just saying, if you could have got your hands on those boots and kind of they disappeared out of your evidence room, you could have had some real money.
Boy, could you sell that for a fortune.
You got some explaining to do.
comes with coke resin at the bottom of the heels. It would be worth a fortune.
Maybe that's why the Sheik was maybe lighter on his feet. I don't know, but I'm sure he wore them that day at Convention Hall.
Oh, God.
Fans are saying out there that Duggan's father is a chief of police in Glen Falls. So,
okay, was that it?
You've had a good career. You're still living life. If again, how does it feel? Not that you're a wrestling fan, but how does it feel that you and others changed the face of pro wrestling? I mean, it is one of the most.
It's funny. I mean, I never even thought about it like that until last week when I talked to Pete, because Pete made mention of that, saying that after that happened. Like really threw a monkey wrench, and like they had to go in a different direction because now people were beginning to think it's a lot of bullshit. Like these guys are mortal enemies, or going to some kind of tag team grudge match, whatever they were doing, and here they are sharing a car, sharing some weed, sharing a drink, And again, didn't they bring the Sheik back as Colonel Mustafa or something like that?
They did.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we didn't, I guess we took them out of the fast track, but we didn't, their career totally didn't shit the bed, I mean, they were still involved. And, again, Vince McMahon talking to him and said, oh, yeah, they gave us all a black eye. And I'm thinking to myself, you brought him back. It couldn't have been that much of a black eye, but what do I know?
Now, hold on. I got to point this out. Duggan is saying that this incident wrecked him, right? This is 1987, right?
Correct.
Let me ask you a question. Who was the winner of the very first ever Royal Rumble?
Duggan.
What year was that, please?
I think 88.
1988. Yeah, really ruined your career. Oh!
No, you got to think about. You got to think about. He was being pushed with Andre Giant, main eventing Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
I do.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, he is.
Boo hoo.
Wow.
Next. Anyway, sorry, Lance. I had to just spell that one out.
No worries.
Yeah.
All right, so Lance, we're going to hit you with something called the Pharaoh's Final Question.
Oh, boy.
And this may not have anything to do with what we're speaking about now. It might have to do with
come on.
how good-looking your fiance is. I have no idea.
Not.
He's a hobby.
It will not. Don't worry about it. He's starting trouble.
But we're gonna have at it.
Okay, here we go. Lance, I got to ask this. You know, a long career, very dangerous being a trooper and everything. You get to retire. You're alive. You survived your time. You served your time. What makes you in your retirement years decide to be a security guard and take more shit? What is that? Are you okay?
That's a perfectly good question. Well, here's the short end of it. I'm from Point Pleasant.
Okay.
It's 5. I only work like 5 months a year.
Okay.
And I pretty much pick my schedule now.
Nice.
And the family that owns the empire, I mean, they're super nice. They treat me very well. I've known them for 35. When I retired, in fact, they hunted me down at my gym back in 2000. I retired February 11, March of 2011. Kid at the desk, who's now actually a cop in Wall Township, he says, "Hey, Lance, there's a note here for you." I go, "A note? Somebody's passing me a note in the gym? What am I, in high school?" And it was the family, someone from one of the primary employees, and they said, "Hey, we heard you retired. What are you doing?" I said, "Geez, it's only been a month, And they go, "Well, we hear things, And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I don't really need to work. I'm not, divorced or have kids' college to pay for, like, 90% of everybody else. And I'm traveling a lot. I'm enjoying myself." They go, "Well, if you want to come up here and put in a few nights a week, we have a spot for you." I go, and I didn't even know, I really hadn't been to that place in years. I go, "You mean like a bouncer?" They go, No. You stand at the door with a gun, you talk to chicks." And I'm like, "Well, I can do that." I go, "You're going to pay me?" Yeah. So that's how it started. And I'm in my 12th year. So
That's a dream job.
But the things, everything's changed. The landscape has changed.
Okay.
The clientele have changed. I'm old. And like I said earlier, I don't know what I got left in time, but I enjoy working with the people that I work with. They're great people. You have that camaraderie still with working with like-minded individuals, and they treat us great. And every day or every night, I'm there for 8 hours or whatever. My feet are killing me. I'm dealing with these knuckleheads. I'm like, what am I doing? So I ask myself that question every night. So I don't know. Well, tune in next year. I don't know if this is my last year. I don't know if I can make it to 65. We'll see.
Well, B40 out there has a very interesting question. So since you know about destroying careers, B40 wants to know, did the Rock Me Tonight video destroy Billy Squires' career?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great question.
It is a great question.
I mean, remember him dancing around on the bed in his pink whatever? That was awful. What do you?
I'm asking
what
the
say
guests.
you?
I'm
What
not
say you,
asking you.
officer? What say you, officer?
I'm sorry. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask him. He doesn't. You're asking him about an MTV video. This is.
Did the Rock Me Tonight video destroy Billy Squires' career?
I never saw it, so I can't say definitively.
There you go. There you go. Great question, though. That's really out there. I like it.
With that, Lance, on all seriousness, thank you so much for taking the time out to be on the show. You were fantastic, and thank you for sharing the story that changed the history of pro wrestling.
Well, again, thank you guys. It was a pleasure, and in retrospect, I'm sorry it ever even happened. I mean, clearly you do something wrong, you have to be punished, but it's just a shame. And had you told me 35 years ago I'd be sitting here, I would have been like, "Get the fuck out."
Yep.
So. But anyway, good luck with your show and all your fans out there. And, I hope everything works out for everybody.
Thanks, Lance.
Thanks, Lance.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well,
State Trooper, number 1. I wonder if that now he's gone. I wonder if that made him a wrestling fan or more interested in wrestling. Has he kept track?
You didn't even ask the question.
Of course not. You were asking about Billy Squire.
B40, actually. That was a fantastic
Take me
question.
in your arms. That song was horrendous.
That destroyed his
Dude,
career.
he went from the stroke to that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was awful. He went from My Kind of Lover to that.
What do you think?
In the dark.
Who do
to
you
that.
think produced that and decided to have him make that
Probably
song?
the same guy who eventually was dressing Poison. Look at the clothes. It ruined him. Awful.
So what'd you think of the Guest Lance?
Typically. Huh?
What'd you think of the Guest
Fantastic. Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Right place, right time for a very bizarre incident. You know?
Do you think if that incident took place and they let them go, I'm not saying they should have,
Yeah.
what would have been different about pro wrestling now?
Not sure. I mean, at some point, don't you think somebody would have been arrested and busted that didn't belong in the same car together? It had to happen. It happened to be fate.
But has it? I don't really remember
But this
anybody
was-
else.
because-
If anybody
because-
knows out there, has anybody else been arrested?
Because this was fate. This was just meant to happen. You know, it did change everything. Good guys and bad guys aren't supposed to be in the same car, especially in 1987. But let's face it, within 7 years, you had the Clique all hugging each other at Madison Square Garden. Maybe that doesn't happen without that.
That's what I'm trying
But
to
that's
say.
why fate, like Jamie Lee Curtis is being explained in Halloween when Michael is standing there staring at her in the schoolyard, fate was the deciding factor. It was just meant to happen, and so it did. And the rest is history.
Wow. You know what? I can't disagree.
That's it.
Want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to go over a few shows coming up shortly. So we have our regular show next Thursday. I don't think we have a guest. I think it's just you and me, kid.
All right.
And then
All right.
on Friday, on July 15th, I believe, I don't have the banner made yet.
Okay.
But we have EC3 in studio.
Trouble. I love EC3.
Do you?
Especially TNA EC3. Not what Vince did. TNA EC3.
Well, he's got a lot of stories to tell.
He rules.
And,
Big fan.
You know, he might
I
have
like
some
him.
special announcements about that new wrestling
Okay.
organization he's with.
Excellent. Excellent.
Let me see here. Sorry, I don't have it off the
EC3
top of my
rocks.
head. You were always a big EC3 guy, right?
TNA, man, I loved EC3. I thought he was freaking
July
great.
22nd, we have Ronnie Garvin in studio.
Love Ronnie. Recently watched the interview the last time he was in, because once in a while, even I like to take a look at the old stuff. And I was like,
back
wow,
to back
great.
with Tommy Rich.
Come on.
Which will be great.
We love Tommy Rich. I mean, jeez.
August 4th, the return of Marty Jannetty.
Okay.
So Marty's been in the studio a few times, so I wanted to run this by you, and I actually was going back and forth with Maria about this.
Okay. What's up with Marty? What are we doing with Marty? Are we
By the way, Matthew Holland says EC3, my birthday buddy, March 18th. So they're
Sweet.
both birthday buddies.
There you go.
So I was talking to Maria, and I said, hey, Maria, you know what I think's a good idea? And I think I'm going to ask if anyone wants to go to the Monty Nefaro webpage, please email us. I think for the second half of the Marty show,
Okay.
and Jared, can we pull this off? I'd like the fans to be able to come through like video, and they can ask Marty a question. Do you think we could pull that off?
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay. So like when we had Ask Monty and Farrell anything?
Sure.
I think
That was a great show.
It was.
I enjoyed that.
So I think for the last half hour, if you get your name in, you can get on.
A little video gaming with, Monty and the Pharaoh and Marty.
Yeah.
I kind of like that a
So
lot.
ask Marty some questions.
That would be
right?
great. That
By
would
the
be
way,
great.
Bryant says the dude with the hat
Here
is
we go.
the biggest mark in the world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure I am.
Why?
That's why I can't.
Why
even-
are you a mark,
That's
though?
why I can't.
I gotta
even-
understand why
I don't-
you're a
I don't
mark.
know. I don't know what that means, and I
Well,
really don't.
Again, what is a mark? A fan?
I don't know.
Are you the biggest fan in the
But
world?
I know who the biggest troll in the world usually is. It's a guy who has a YouTube channel that doesn't have any videos on it, and he only created it to write shit about other people. How you doing, everybody?
Are you saying Bryant is that person?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. Why would I be saying that?
Now, before he says we should be asking that Billy Squire question to every guest that comes in here.
You wanna?
No. Mike, that's that
I'm
question.
not sure why.
Every
we do-
time?
Wouldn't that be interesting? Imagine that. Imagine like Sandman's like reaction. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know if
Where's
Sandman
my
knows who
pen?
Billy Squire is. All right, so
That's
guys,
true, too.
so you know it, we're going to promote it as the second half of the Marty Show is Ask Marty, right? So we'll get you guys on video.
That's
and
cool.
You guys will come on, and you will ask Marty. We got the little TV, so Marty will be able to see him, and then he could ask a
What's a
question.
mark to you, Mike? You don't seem to be too thrilled with that.
I don't like the
I
word
laugh.
mark. No, but my point is, it's like because someone. All right, So again, we explain this. If you're a pro wrestling expert and you call the people that watch you, because I guess because you are the producer of the wrestler, or or you're this or you're that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you call them a fanboy, or go sleep in your mommy's basement, or you're a mark.
Okay.
To me, it's like, why are you insulting the people that are supporting you? It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I guess in Brian's thing, and I didn't say it to piss you off. All I'm saying is that's what he wrote. I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what's the problem? Because you're enjoying the guest that you have on?
Right.
Are you a fan of the guest? Because they did such a wonderful job and you found him entertaining?
Yeah.
And you got a laugh out of it? I don't know if that's a mark. That's pretty stupid to me. Is it because you enjoy pro wrestling? Does that make you a mark? I don't think so. It makes you a fan.
It's funny because when I think of like it's obviously meant to be an insulting term, pretty much, Mark. When I think of like what they're insulting, doesn't that mean that the guy is, number one, usually in mommy's basement, which I am not? Number two, wouldn't they like have posters covering their walls and action figures, which I don't? Number three, they watch wrestling 24/7, which we both know I don't. So
the true meaning of a mark is somebody.
I'm not sure what it even means.
True meaning of a mark is somebody that you identify as something you can get from that person. So meaning that if I'm a wrestler, if I'm they call them ring rats, but a ring rat, it could be a mark, right? Because they're willing to have sex with you because of, so you're going to get something from it. A mark would be someone like, oh, I have this wrestling organization, and let's look. Not trying to be insulting out there, guys, but let me say it as I can't afford to have Marty on my show. Please, everybody, pay for a Marty party.
Right.
Go to this website and donate money, right?
Okay.
That people that are donating would, in the term, and I don't agree with it, would be the mark, right? Because you're convincing them to do something.
Yeah.
So mark is the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I would say, what was this dude's name? Bryant, I would say, if you're going to talk about Pharaoh, you should say, boy, that guy's a fan. Or, boy, that guy's enthusiastic, right? That would probably be the proper.
Why don't you just get to the chase? That guy's a dick. I can live with that too.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fine too. So
all right, so don't forget, go to Monty and the Pharaoh page, and also later on in August we have Greg Valentine in studio. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But first up, Thursday night show, and then EC3 will be in house.
Nice.
RJ says Pharaoh is not a mark. He's just a fan like all of us.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Phil says, I think being passionate sometimes is misconstrued as being a mark.
Absolutely.
Well,
Bingo.
again, you can't
Phil,
be a mark
again,
unless
nice.
you can give something for it.
Right.
A mark is someone that I've identified as someone I can get money for.
Right.
So, for example, invest in something. I don't know, dude. You know what? To me, it's like whatever. It's like you call someone Mark. Listen. If you go to a live wrestling match,
cheap shot in the world.
If you go to a live wrestling match, then you're a Mark.
Right.
Because you're paying to go see it, right?
Right.
So the terminology fan should just go away for these people and just call yourself a Mark.
It's like when Vince Russo dropped that word involving us, and I'm like, you're just a famous Mark then. What's the difference?
Yeah, I remember
you know what I mean?
Vince said that.
You're just a famous Mark. What's the difference?
Yeah, you're more famous than us. You worked in the industry. We did not.
Right.
We're
not in the business?
No.
What do you mean?
But hold on. Vince Russo found himself a mark by the name of?
Vince Russo found himself a mark?
By the name of?
Help me out here. What's going on?
Oh, my God. Pharaoh.
What? Vince Russo.
Vince Russo owned a video store.
Oh, shit.
And he found himself a mark.
It's not here. Usually I throw it off the shelf, don't I? That Arizzi guy?
That John Arizzi.
That Arizzi
found
guy.
Himself a
mark.
He
never says goodbye when you hang out with him.
But my point is that he found himself a mark.
I got you.
He used them, and he found himself a mark.
I got you. Oh, boy, do I got you.
Yeah, Mitch says it right. Customers are not marks.
Right.
Right? There you go.
And then they insult their own fan base. Who did that recently?
All right, so don't forget Thursday show,
did that.
EC3 on Friday. So next week you got a back-to-back, which should be a lot of fun. All right?
Here we go. And Marty. That's going to be awesome.
And Jason says, kill the whales, shoot the seals. All right, anyway, send us out.
Shoot the seals? Oh, no, you've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh. Try not to shoot anybody or anything. Until next week. Later. Oy.